The DNC has released its autopsy on the 2024 election after months of intense pressure. Chairman Ken Martin shared the report with disclaimers like this one we've highlighted for you here. And that disclaimer is on every page of the document. In a statement, Martin said he does not endorse the postmortem and couldn't put the DNC stamp of approval on it. He said, quote, "But transparency is paramount," end quote. CBS News political contributor Joel Payne joins us now from our D.C. bureau to help us make sense of this. Joel, good morning. I'm curious how you would rank the quality of what's inside this report and why the DNC would release it if it's only going to distance itself from it.
Well, Errol, you know it's bad news if you release something with the proviso that you don't support anything within the document. And I think that's what Chairman Martin did yesterday, and I think for good reason why he wouldn't want to stand behind it. It is not a complete report. It's not a thorough report. In some places, it's not an accurate report. And I think, Errol, listen, I've been telling people this. The report itself is not the main character. Like, the report is a byproduct, a symptom of a larger thing that Democrats are struggling with in the post-2024 era that we're in right now, which is rebuilding trust with the public, rebuilding trust with your base, holding credibility, and also displaying competence as a political party. And the handling of this report, the actual pulling together of the report, all the things around it, I think are actually bringing to life all of the concerns that should have been in a report like this. The need to hold trust, the need to earn trust from the public, the need to be transparent about the problems that are obvious with the coalition. These are all things that are coming out in the discussion of this story, Errol.
Yeah, I mean, the word affordability, I understand, is barely in the report. President Biden, former President Biden, was barely mentioned. And as you say, it's emblematic of generally American complaints about the party itself, that it can't get its act together. Ken Martin now facing calls to step down as DNC chair. Do you think he should? Is that the fix for the moment?
Well, Errol, the DNC chair race is a pretty inside game. It's about 200 people who are all voters of the Democratic Party, so we don't get a vote. I would say if this went to a national poll of Democrats, I don't think the results would be too good for Chairman Martin. And listen, I would just say this, Democrats, I think, have an opportunity now to take a step back and to really look in the mirror and understand what they can do to rebuild some of the trust that they've lost. I think it's a good step that they released the report. I think whoever it is that's running the DNC needs to go and put an actual report together, a good faith report together. And you need to confront the hard issues. You need to talk about the role of the war in Gaza and how that impacted Democratic energy. You need to talk about Joe Biden's age. You need to talk about other challenges within the Democratic coalition, because I can tell you what every Democrat would much rather be doing instead of having a conversation about this. We'd rather be talking about what you just discussed in the segment before about why Donald Trump is unpopular right now. And that's actually the thing that's going to drive more Democratic energy than discussing a report and discussing the mishandling of a report.
So as we approach the midterms, there's already some Democratic infighting over this report. What is the party's direction?
Well, listen, look, a DNC and a DNC chair, the role is to raise money, to build infrastructure, and to drive message. And right now, this DNC is not able to do that because of their own mistakes. I think what you've got to do is you got to clean this up. You got to hope that transparency fixes some of the things that ails the party committee right now. And you've got to be prepared for 2028. Democrats can get by through 2026, actually, with a successful cycle without a DNC that's functioning at 100%. They cannot get through 2028 without that. And I think every Democrat in places all around the country understand that. And I think that's the focus of everyone who I talk to who has anything to do with the DNC. You got to get this fixed this cycle for 2028 so that the DNC can be a part of the solution and not part of the problem.
Yeah, if you want to understand what Joel is speaking about, read the report, especially if you're a glutton for punishment, because it's quite confusing. Joel, thank you so much. Have a great weekend.